Hello and welcome to Quick Learn Photography, straight to the point videos that teach you everything that I've learned in over 10 years of professional photography. I'm James, and in this video we're going to learn about shutter speed, what it is and how to use it. And by the end of this video, that's exactly what you're going to know. So shutter speed is probably one of the most fundamental basic things to learn with photography when it comes to your camera. Shutter speed. Okay, there's three main things to control light: shutter speed, aperture and ISO, and they all work together, and I'm going to do a video on each one, and this one is about shutter speed. So what is shutter speed and why is it so important, and how do you control it, and what effects can you get from it as well? So when you press a button on a camera, I've turned it off. Here we go. When you press a button, so let me put it near the mic, the shutter clicks, opens and takes a shot. So if I take the lens off, let's see if it focuses. Yep, there's the mirror, see it flapping up. Right, so what's happening there is when you take the image, there's a mirror there as well. With mirrorless cameras, there's still a shutter. There's like a sort of a leaf shutter system, and it opens and the sensor is behind, and all the light and everything hits the sensor, records the image, and then the shutter closes again. So as you can hear, it's going click, 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 just kind of like blinking, but the other way around. So it's kind of like eyes open, say the sensor of my eyeballs is how long it's open and closed, like really fast. Or if it's really, really dark, you'd be like that, wouldn't you? And then close. If it's really, really bright, say the sun's in your face, you're going to be like that. So shutter speed has different speeds, obviously. So this is what we're going to talk about. So a lot of shutters on DSLRs like that one, it's like a falling leaf system. It's sort of the shutter opens, exposes the sensor, closes and goes back up again, down, and that's your process. I think with mobile phones, they don't have shutters. Some do, but not many. So it's basically, it's when the sensor is turned on and off, on and off like that. So it's kind of like a shutter opening and closing. So a really good way to illustrate it is blinking the opposite way. So it's how long your eye is exposed to light and then closed again. Hope you can't hear that. It's just hammering down with rain now. So hope we don't have to do this video again. I'm going to carry on. So yeah, shutter speed, and it sounds pretty cool. The reason why I've used this camera, this is an old one. It sounds like a bolt action rifle. It's like, it keeps turning off. So yeah, shutter speed. Now if I turn the shutter speed down really, really low to a low shutter speed, it will sound delayed. Listen to this. Right, that's a slow shutter speed. I'll speed it up a bit with the dial at the back. It's a bit faster. I'm going to speed it up again. Don't know if you can see the dial at the back. Now it's fast. Now listen to the difference. Okay. Then if you start getting crazy fast, that's fast. Okay. Right. So you can control the shutter speed. I'm going to demonstrate in a minute properly, showing the back of a camera how to do it and the effects you can get. So a little breakdown of shutter speed. It helps with exposure. So the longer the shutter is open, the more light hits the sensor. Okay, the shorter the shutter is open, the quicker, the less light hits the sensor. Now if it's a bright sunny day and you're outside with your mobile phone or a camera and you're on any kind of automatic mode, then the shutter speed is going to be really, really fast, because the metering mode on the camera is going to pick up that it's really, really bright. Okay, so bright blue skies, bright sunny day, whatever, or if you're just in a very, very bright environment, the meter is going to pick up it's very, very bright. So therefore, I don't need the shutter open for very, very long. So it'll be like 1/1000th of a second, 2/1000th of a second. A lot of cameras now go up to like 8/1000th of a second, which is like, you know, there's sort of pictures that freeze, like drops of water and things like that, or like really fast moving action. It's open so it's open and closed so quickly, it just freezes anything. So you get razor sharp, sharp images. That's why all your, sharp. That's why all your images are really sharp if you take them outside. Now on the reverse side of that, if you're in a dark environment, let's say you go to a low light restaurant and you're trying to do a nice family photo and you're in auto mode, you got the ambient light, it's dark or whatever it is, and the sensor, the metering system is going to look at the scene and go, it's really, really dark. So I need to keep the shutter open for a lot longer, okay? So it's going to let more light in. That's great, it lets more light in. So it's kind of like, I don't know if you've ever walked into a cinema before a bit late and it's dark and your eyes are like trying to adjust. It's kind of like that, your eyes are like wide open, trying to get as much light as possible. Similar sort of thing. So that's great because it lets in a lot of light. But then this is part of the problem. It can lead to motion blur or just blur in general. So if I go back to the noisy Nikon D700, I love this camera. So if I go to a fast shutter speed, that's going to be fine. Even the speed I'm at now, even if a cyclist went past, it would freeze them, okay? So I'm going to drop it down now to a really slow one. So let's go to 1/10 of a second. So listen to this. Right now, if I move within that time, it's going to be blurry. If anything moves within that time, it's going to be blurry, okay? So as a general rule, anything handheld and still, say you're taking a photo of a building or something that's static and still, 1/60th of a second, because anything lower than that, even your heartbeat can cause a little bit of motion blur, okay? You know, it's a little bit of blur in the images with things like that sharp. If you drop down to crazy low numbers, we're going to get into this in a bit, then it will just be really, really blurry. Everything will just look crazy, so you can't do that. So 1/60th handheld, say 200th of a second is good for like someone walking. That will freeze somebody walking. But if someone's running, then they'll be a bit blurry, okay? 500th of a second for someone like running or a cyclist or something like that. 1,000th of a second for really high speed stuff, and then when you get above that, that's where it will like really freeze stuff really, really sharp. So you can control the shutter speed and have different effects from it. So I'm going to show you now on the back of a camera how it works, how to use the dials, how to use the controls, and what sort of effects you can get from it. Okay, so I'm going to show you shutter speed now. So the dial for shutter speed on this camera is this one here, okay? So the shutter speed symbol is that one there. So there's your aperture and there's your ISO. I've turned the auto ISO off, so it's just at the base level 100. So watch this one here, that's my shutter speed, 1/20th of a second, which is way too slow to capture any kind of like movement or anything. It'll just be blurry. So f2.8 is the widest that it's at, and here's the dial for shutter speed. So if I adjust it, you can see it going up. So this is the light difference with shutter speed. So let's get to 1/60th. Now that is good enough handheld, but anything moving is going to be blurry at this point. So let's get it up to 100 and you can see the difference. Okay, so 200th of a second. That'll capture someone walking, but it's dark, isn't it? So, and if I adjust the aperture, it'll kill it down even more. All right. So shutter speed, if I go to 500th of a second, then it's like really, really dark now. So this is where you would use the auto ISO, which I'll get to in another video. Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate shutter speed now and on the different settings. It's not going to be very technical this, I'm just going to use my hand with movement. All right. So the first slot, I'm going to do lots of different shutter speed settings so you can see the effect of my hand at say like walking speed, like this kind of speed, okay? So this is the first one we're going to do. This can capture like general head movements and general body movements like at walking speed. Okay, so we'll do some different shutter speeds for that kind of speed. Okay, so this is me waving at walking pace here. Now I'm on Lightroom and it shows the settings. So here we have 1/200th of a second, okay? And it's caught my hand. It's kind of frozen it at walking pace. It's really still and sharp, and I am and everything. So this is a good sort of benchmark setting if you're in a low light situation and you want to capture movement, 1/200th of a second. The other settings have gone up, like the ISO here. We'll talk about that later. So that's quite high. but it's allowing more light, and you'll see that drop as the shutter speed drops down as well. So this is 1/200th of a second, walking pace, and it's caught everything nice and sharp, so ideal. Let's drop it down now. Right, 1/25th of a second, so it's half the amount as the last one. The ISO has dropped a bit to half again. It's still just about caught it. That's fine, absolutely fine. But you're pushing it a bit now. Anything faster than that and it's going to start getting blurry, as you'll see now. So 1/60th of a second, here we go. Now this is quite a pivotal shutter speed benchmark, 1/60th of a second. So anything handheld or anything still or not moving, this is a good setting to have if you're handheld. So I'm nice and sharp. I am on a tripod, but my head movement, which is moving a bit because I'm waving my hand, is still sharp. So handheld, 1/60th of a second, but anything moving at that shutter speed is gonna be blurry. Right, let's drop it even more. 1/30th, so the hand is getting more blurry. My face is only sharp because I'm on a tripod. If this was handheld, my face would start getting a little bit more blurry because there's slight movement. So you'll see that now. So 1/8th of a second, the hand is really blurry now. I'm still sharp, amazingly, but that's because it's on a tripod. Right, here we go. So 1/5 of a second, my hand is nearly transparent, and I'm starting to get blurry now because I'm doing little micro movements with my hand moving left and right. Let's drop it even now, 1 second. So the shutter speed is open now for 1 second. The aperture is rocketed up. We'll get onto that in the next video. My hand is nearly transparent. The slightest move I'm doing, I'm blurry. And now 4 seconds. This is a long time, 4 seconds. The aperture is at its max f22 to let in as well, not let in any light hardly at all. My hand is completely transparent. This is at walking pace and I'm blurry with little micro movements, okay? So I hope that helps. That's for like at walking pace speed. And now we'll move on to the next one. Okay, so now we're going to go a lot faster. Same thing, but really fast. Kind of like running speed, you know, or just anything pretty fast. So we're going to do lots of different shutter speeds to show the effect of something moving very, very fast. Okay, so this is fast waving now. There's my little note to remind me that that's what these future pictures are, with me waving very, very fast. So let's go to 1/1000th of a second there. You can see the ISO has gone crazy high at 8,000 because this is not letting in a lot of light at this shutter speed. So it's caught my hand nice and sharp. That's great. So 500th of a second, that's good enough for like someone cycling, running, sprinting, and it's caught my hand again, just about. It's still sharp. Right, 250th of a second, the ISO is dropping as you can see, but now my hand is blurry. So if this was at walking pace, that would be sharp. That would be absolutely fine, but anything faster than that, it's going to get blurry. 125th of a second, getting really, really blurry now. So this is a fast pace. 1/60th of a second, so if you was handheld, this is what anything fast would look like. Really, really blurry, kind of pointless now. 1/30th of a second, same thing. And 1/8th of a second, really, really blurry, and I'm blurry. Little micro movements, completely blurry. So that's all we need really for this, because you get the idea. Any more than that, like 2 seconds, 4 seconds, 5 seconds, it's just going to be like invisible at this kind of speed. Okay, so that is fast moving subjects and shows you what shutter speed will do. So that's shutter speed. I hope it helps, showing and demonstrating how to control it, and it is very, very important to learn how to use shutter speed. So that's the first thing. Along with that, you probably noticed in the video as well that aperture plays a big part, balancing out with shutter speed. It's part of the exposure triangle. So the next video, we're going to talk about aperture. So that was shutter speed. Thanks for watching, and I hope it helped.